Hello, and welcome to Not Boring English. Today, I have a story for you called A Walk with My Dog, which is designed for English learners at the B1 level. As you listen, feel free to use the shadowing technique by pausing and repeating after me to practice your fluency and pronunciation. Remember, you can also adjust the playback speed in the settings if you find the pace a little difficult. Let's get started. A walk with my dog. My name is Leah. I came home last Tuesday evening, feeling completely exhausted. It had been one of those long, difficult days at work, filled with back-to-back meetings, urgent emails, and the constant pressure of a looming deadline. My mind felt like a cluttered room, with thoughts and worries scattered everywhere. All I wanted to do was drop my bag on the floor, collapse onto the sofa, and maybe watch some mindless television until I fell asleep. As soon as I opened the door, however, I was greeted by a whirlwind of pure joy. My golden retriever, Max, came bounding toward me, his tail wagging so hard, his whole body wiggled. He jumped up gently, putting his paws on my legs and licking my hand as if I had been gone for a year, not just 9 hours. Usually, this greeting is the best part of my day. But on this particular evening, I barely had the energy to pat his head. "Hey, buddy," I mumbled, giving him a quick scratch behind the ears. "I'm tired tonight." I walked into the living room and sank into the couch, letting out a long sigh. Max followed me, his happy panting filling the quiet apartment. He sat on the floor in front of me, his big brown eyes watching my every move. He seemed to understand that my energy was low. After a minute, he rested his head on my knee, as if to say, "It's okay, I'm here." We sat like that for a while, and I started to feel a little bit of the day's tension melt away. But then, Max stood up, walked over to the door, and picked up his leash in his mouth. He brought it back to me, dropping it into my lap with a soft thud. He looked at me, then at the door, then back at me, his expression full of hope. Honestly, a walk was the last thing I wanted to do. My legs felt heavy, and my brain felt even heavier. "Not now, Max," I said. "Maybe later." He just sat there, wagging his tail slowly, the leash still lying on my legs. He didn't bark or complain. He just waited patiently. I knew that look. It was his polite but firm way of insisting. If I didn't take him for a walk, he would be restless all evening, and I knew the fresh air would probably do me some good, even if I didn't feel like it. All right, you win," I said, finally giving in. Max's tail immediately started wagging at full speed. I clipped the leash onto his collar, and we headed out. As we walked down the street, my mind was still stuck at the office. I was mentally replaying a conversation with my boss and worrying about all the tasks I had to complete by Friday. I was physically present on the sidewalk, but my mind was miles away. Max, on the other hand, was completely in the moment. He was a perfect example of living in the now. His nose was twitching, taking in all the fascinating smells of the neighborhood. His ears were alert, catching the distant sound of another dog barking. His tail was a furry flag of happiness. He wasn't thinking about yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. He was just enjoying his walk. We reached the entrance to our favorite park just as the sun was beginning to set. The sky was painted in vibrant shades of orange, pink, and purple. Normally, I would have my phone out, trying to capture the perfect picture. But tonight, I just watched. Max was pulling me gently toward a path that led through a small group of trees. As we walked under the trees, the crunching sound of dry leaves under my shoes was surprisingly satisfying. The air was cool and crisp, and it felt good to breathe it in deeply. Max was in heaven. He sniffed every single tree trunk, his tail wagging furiously whenever he discovered a particularly interesting scent. He saw a squirrel and froze for a second, his body tense with excitement, before the squirrel scrambled up a tree, chattering indignantly. Max looked back at me as if to say, "Did you see that?" It was amazing. I couldn't help but laugh. His simple, uncomplicated joy was infectious. For the first time since I left work, I felt a genuine smile spread across my face. My thoughts about deadlines and emails started to seem less important. We continued our walk and saw another person with a dog, a friendly-looking woman with a small terrier. The dogs greeted each other excitedly, sniffing and wagging their tails. The woman and I exchanged smiles. "Beautiful evening, isn't it?" she said. "It really is," I replied, and I meant it. We walked on, and I found myself noticing things I usually overlooked. The way the last rays of sunlight filtered through the leaves, the specific melody of a bird singing its last song of the day, the feeling of the gentle breeze on my face. My own senses were waking up, guided by Max's example. He wasn't just walking, he was experiencing the world with every part of his being. By the time we circled back toward home, my mental clutter was gone. The room in my mind was no longer messy. It was clean and quiet. I felt a sense of peace that I hadn't felt all day. My legs were still a little tired, but my spirit felt light and refreshed. When we got back to the apartment, Max drank a long bowl of water and then curled up on his bed with a happy sigh. I went to the kitchen to start making dinner, feeling more like myself again. I realized that the walk hadn't just been for him. He knew exactly what I needed, even when I didn't. He needed to stretch his legs, and I needed to clear my head. He took me outside, not just for exercise, but for healing. That evening, I understood something important. Sometimes, the best way to take care of yourself is to take care of someone else. And sometimes, the simplest things, like a walk in the park with a loyal friend, are the most powerful medicine for a stressed-out mind. Comprehension questions. Now, I will ask a few questions about the story to check your comprehension. 1. How was the narrator feeling at the beginning of the story when she came home from work? 2. What did the narrator start to notice during the walk that helped change her mood? 3. By the end of the story, What did the narrator realize was the true purpose of the walk? Thank you for listening to today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. Do you have a pet that helps you feel better? Or is there a simple activity that helps you relax after a long day? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories to help you learn English. See you next time.